Hi, I'm James. I'm the politics editor at the Mancunian.
And I'm Alec, the Faculty of Humanities Officer at LeadMCR.
Yep, so we've just got 3 questions for you today. We'll go through. So first question is, what are your priorities as Humanities Officer and what are you doing to achieve them?
Well, I mean, obviously, I've got quite a few priorities. I care about quite a lot of things. And one of the biggest things about coming into the role is you realise you're not going to do everything you wanted to do. So it's like kind of happened, and the last 6 months now have kind of gone by. They've kind of coalesced into two main themes, and you can probably tell I did history because I've broken it down into themes. So the first part is more like the physical, material aspects of being a student, and that's when we're talking about accessibility of education. When we're talking about students being able to come to university and thrive, the first barrier are those material kind of conditions. You know, can a student even afford to come onto campus? Does university even work for students now? The amount of student workers we have is what, 40% of all students here at the university now work? So my main thing here is, you know, can our students even access university? I'm working with the faculty to make it easier for students to thrive here. So that the university isn't just for, you know, the middle class kind of constituent, that anyone can come to Manchester and thrive and succeed. And then on the flip side of that, it's a more kind of, I guess you'd say, theoretical, based along the lines of like being able to access and being able to think this university belongs to you. It's looking at decolonisation. I'm really pushing it within the faculty because there's some great pockets of work, but I really want to link it up and really have it embedded throughout the future strategy. You know, we know there's this brand new 10-year strategy from the university that could be a really great thing, but there's some things that I think need to be more embedded, particularly decol and making sure that education actually reflects our constituents and the people that are here at this university.
Okay, cool. Now, reflecting on the student union itself, how does the Manchester student community benefit from the student union?
Well, I mean, the Students' Union is huge compared to other unions across the country. I mean, I've been to quite a few, a lot, and you know, we really do provide quite an excellent service of student life. I see the Students' Union as that anchor point for students here at Manchester. You know, I mean, within the university, there's so many issues concerning academic advising, pastoral support, where students can feel really disconnected and not really feel like Manchester's their own. But I feel the Students' Union provides that for students. It provides a hub to engage with other students. It provides a hub for development as well. The reason I'm sat here today is I was really involved in campaigning in political societies. That's the reason I'm here. It's the reason why I learned so much just by doing. And I think that's what really the Students' Union can offer for students, is it's an alternative form of development, not necessarily just in the classroom, while also supporting them through what is a really tough time. You know, you come to university, well, I came when I was 18 years old, and I knew, sorry, I can't swear, can I?
Sure.
I knew,
censor it out.
I knew fuck all.
Yeah.
And it's quite scary, and then you go through your university life and you encounter all of these new relationships, whether it be with bosses, landlords, lecturers, people that are, you know, decades older than you, and they're really difficult to kind of navigate. And I think the Students' Union helps students be able to navigate those relationships and helps them be able to kind of stand their ground and protect themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And throughout your campaign, you made course personalisation a key theme of the campaign, and you focused on the quality of assessments, quality of feedback, and introducing a more flexible course structure. So, what have you done to pursue those, and what policies can we expect to be rolled out?
Well, with course personalisation, there are these things I've found out called benchmarking statements, which means there's particular kind of checkpoints every student has to reach within their courses. So that has been a bit of a barrier pushing forwards for ultimate kind of personalisation. We also kind of in the wider sector now, universities are struggling. So when you come in and ask, we need to go bigger, you can often get quite a reactionary kind of throwback to that. One of the main things here, though, is supporting our school reps in their kind of lived experience of how to enhance assessment and assessment quality and feedback quality as well. Because when I was a first year, it's very different to first years now. But we have 2,000 reps here, I think, now. So really elevating that student voice in those spaces so they can shape their courses, making sure in their school boards and their student voice committees that their feedback is actually taken, acted upon, and the loop is closed instead of students. And we've seen it with surveys throughout the years of people, giving out feedback and not seeing what comes back from it. So one of the main things there, I've been working on surveys in the last few months, and making sure that there's an expectation that not only is feedback taken in and acted upon, but that feedback is shown back to students, so they know why they might not be able to shape the course how they like to shape it, but also where they could be able to, change things more broadly. But yeah, I mean, course personalisation has been a bit of a tricky one. There is no doubt. But I think working with those school reps, really kind of pushing them in those spaces for them to kind of take the lead, because it's, well, as I said, it's their lived experience on their courses. So it should kind of come from students, student-led university, students leading in their education. But yeah, that's where that's at now. Really focusing in on the school boards, the student voice committees. Sorry, they change the name every year, and really kind of working with them to empower them to get their voices really, really acted upon in those spaces.
Okay, cool. And you also talked a lot about study abroad placements and industrial placements as well. Have you taken any steps to improve the availability of those?
Yeah, well, I mean, a big thing with the humanities at the moment is what's the outcomes of the degree. Like, I'm in a really privileged position where I am in this job. I know, got an election for it, but I graduated with a lot of other humanities students, and the job market is really tough out there. And another kind of considerations come into it when talking about placements is a lot of students don't have the time anymore. We're experiencing like a real time poverty for a lot of students. So we've flipped it around really, working with people in the faculty to not necessarily think about how we can add employability, but how do we extract employability, right? How do you have that one student experience? I don't know if you've heard about One University, this new push for the strategy. So the new strategy, Manchester 2035. One of the big things is One University. Because right now the three faculties operate very differently. A student in humanities will have a completely different experience from a student in the Faculty of Biology, Medicine and Health, and that causes discontent. It causes the sense of, well, what am I paying for if I'm not getting the same kind of level of experience? So one of the big pushes in the faculty is this One University experience, so that everything is linked up and you don't really have these massive inconsistencies across experience. But I also think that we need to have a reframing of that one student experience. How do you link the whole student experience into your development? Because employability doesn't just come from academic facets or outcomes from your academics or your course. If you work hospitality 30 hours a week, you will gain transferable skills like a resilience that you'll be hard pressed to find anywhere, but there's not really much acknowledgement of it. And I think that can upset students sometimes because they feel like they might be wasting their time in hospitality because they need to survive. So what I think the university needs to do is extract that and be able to, help students tell a story, a narrative of their time at university that isn't just about their academics, and also privileged work experience opportunities. Because, a lot of job placements, work experience placements, are either based on the fact you might be able to have the extra time for it, or you might have had connections, which not all students have access to. So how do we make sure every student can really, draw out those skills, no matter what their circumstances are? And then we come to study years abroad. Admittedly, that hasn't been as much of a focus in the last few weeks. It really has been focusing on those conditions of students and the realisation that students are absolutely in crisis. So many across the country we see. I mean, obviously universities are in crisis as well, because universities and students are intrinsically linked. But really, really supporting and pushing for students to be understood differently. I think there's very much been a bit of a lag behind understandings and reality when the university sees students. There's the homogenous kind of stereotypical student of 18, undergraduate, comes from home and is English or British. But that doesn't reflect Manchester anymore. We have so many international students, commuter students, our care experience students are rising in numbers, student workers are rising in numbers. So it's really, really wanting to focus on the different tailored support pathways here that can be offered to them, so that students can actually thrive and succeed here as well, because access is easy.
Yeah.
But you need success. You know, we have these awarding gaps, and the dropout rates disproportionately affect, I think it's Black Heritage Bangladeshi students, and that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed as students from working class backgrounds can really, really thrive at university and don't have to work 50 hours a week just to stay in the city. Manchester's already unaffordable, you know, and it is only getting worse. So by focusing on those, the aim has been in the last 6 months to really be able to elevate everyone, instead of just maybe things that might focus on certain groups of students or different areas of studenthood.
Okay. Well, thank you for sitting down with us today.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Okay.
Brilliant.